Welcome to another episode of the Jarvis Sam Show. I am your host, Jarvis Sam. Thank you for listening wherever you are listening from, first and foremost. And wherever you are, please go ahead and smash that subscribe button wherever you are. If you're on Apple, Spotify, wherever you're getting this podcast at, please smash that subscribe button so you can get notifications each and every time we drop a new episode. This week, first of all, happy Father's Day to any of the fathers out there that's taking care of your business. Also, happy Juneteenth to everyone. Very special day for the culture. So, happy Juneteenth to everybody out there. Just a couple plugs before we dive into this week's episode. So check out my link tree. It will be in the description box wherever you're getting this. So you can check the description box and you'll be able to click the link tree and it'll give you access to everything from my website, jarvissam.com, to the links to wherever you can get the podcast. So Apple and all those good old links. And then I've got a premium podcast with Apple that will be dropping later this month, as well as the anniversary episode later this month. So look forward to all of that. This week's episode was really, really special. I recorded with Inspired by Christopher. So we'll be joined by their audience as well for this episode. We just had a really great conversation about fatherhood and what it means to be a father and how being a father has shaped us and changed us over the last couple of years. So I know you'll be blessed by it, whether you are a father now, a father to be, thinking about being a father at some point, or if you're a lady and you want just some insight onto how sometimes fathers feel and what it means to be a good father. So I hope you guys enjoy this episode and just sit back, relax, and enjoy. Like I said, we'll be joined by Christopher Robinson on this one. It's a great conversation.
Hey man, I know I'm early, man, but happy Father's Day, man.
Man, happy Father's Day to you, man. How's everything?
Appreciate that, my brother. Man, everything is all good, man. I got some news, man. I got another girl on the way, man.
What?
Yeah, man.
Wow.
Yeah, man.
Wow.
Yeah, man. I tell you what, I thought I was one and done, but I tell you what, I'm two and through. I tell you that much. Yeah. Absolutely.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, man. No more.
Wow. Two girls.
Yeah, man. Color me hold. But I'm here, man. Yeah, man.
Wow.
It's fly though, man. I tell you what, man, you know, some people, you have a girl and it's like, man, I want to get a boy, but hey, man, I got two girls. And I looked at the bright side of it is, man, they could share a room and all the hand-me-downs. Hey, man, when Nyla go out or something,
right?
Hey, let's put that in a safe place because we don't run that back. We're running that back. Yeah, right. Man.
Well, when will she arrive?
November 7th is the due date.
Oh, that's a fly month.
Yeah,
November
man.
November is a very fly month.
Yeah, man. November 7th, man. So, man, I got the wife's birthday in September, my daughter's birthday in October, my other daughter's birthday in November, then Christmas in December. So I'm hugged, like I said. But I mean, I wouldn't have it any other way.
You got a busy fourth quarter.
I know, man. Hey, man. Every fourth quarter, I like to Mike Jordan them, man. You know.
So, boys, that's a February. That must be a Valentine's Day baby.
Hey, man. However it happened, man. I'm done. That's all I know, man.
Wow.
What's up with you, man? You good? What's up?
Man, I'm good. I'm good over here, man. Just, trying to figure it out.
Okay.
Trying to figure it out as we go.
Man, okay. Hey, man, I ain't gonna say your son's name because I don't know if you put it out there like that. But how is the young man doing, man?
Man, he's in a beautiful spot right now. But he ain't always been in a beautiful spot, but he's good now, man. He's it's a totally different situation, man.
How old is that young man now, man?
Man, he'll be 10 months in about a week.
So this will be your first Father's Day,
First one.
man. So question: How what's different within a year? So a year before you answer that, a year ago, you're a father to be. A year later, you got a year in the game, man, or close to a
It's
year.
Yeah, it's man, it's a totally different spot. I mean, we're looking at last June, man. We was just in the house, man, because we had the whole COVID situation was hitting the fever pitch, and man, we just in the house, man. And honestly, that's how this pod started. This
Yeah.
pod started because man, we just chilling in the house. I guarantee you, had the young man been here already, I don't
Mm-hmm.
know if the pod would have got jumped off in June of last year. Um, but man, a lot has changed. I mean, just you think you're prepared. You think like both of us had kids late in life, right? Like it
Yeah.
wasn't like we were in our early 20s, like a lot of people we went to school with and friends and whatnot have had. Man, I saw like on my Facebook, like a lot of people I went to high school with was having kids graduating, and I'm like, man, that's crazy. um, and so when I think about that, it's like, man, are you more prepared because you waited? Like, but it's like it's something that I don't think you can prepare for. Like, I don't think all the preparation in the world. Um, I think the only thing I can say preparation wise that makes sense is from a financial aspect, from a career aspect. Like, we not out here trying to figure it out. We're not out here in college trying to figure things out. We're a little more established. But other than that, man, I mean, it changes everything, and like you just don't understand till you're in it. Like, you really don't. Like, you can't. You can. I had most of my friends had kids already, and I felt like I kind of understood, and maybe I did, but you just don't get it until you are in the situation. And like now, I kind of see like things differently. Like, man, like as a single person without kids, like you just can't, you don't get it. Like and I think you can
Yeah,
be a little
absolutely.
insensitive.
Absolutely.
You can be a little insensitive to people in that situation because you don't 100% get it. Like, it's not easy. It's not, you can't just get up and go. You can't just, like, everything has to be centered around, okay, is my child taken care of? And so many people, and to that point, like, I think, one fathers don't always, I think being a father or being a good father is a tough job. It's a thankless job. Like, it's one of those things that, you get up every day, you have to go through the hustle and bustle of whatever your job is, whatever your career is, whatever you're trying to do to provide for your family, your legacy, and then still taking care of the child and making sure that you're present and that child knows that, hey, this is daddy, right? Because um it's a whew, it's different. It's a different ball game, man. It has not, and I think, from my situation where we're in the middle of COVID, and it's even more difficult because your options are limited with who can kind of come around and everything. So, you know, you are it. You
Yeah.
are it. So again, if you're not centering everything you're doing around your kid, you're being irresponsible, to be quite honest. And you know, it's kind of sometimes why, like I, I've seen, like, a lot lesser of situations, and dads just not being involved and stuff like that. And for me, it's just like, how would you not want to be involved? Like, how could you not,
Absolutely.
like, even though it's tough, even though it's stressful, even though it's not a glamorous life, like it's how would you not, like, how can you not want to be a part of this? Because it's so rewarding. Like, there's nothing like after a long, stressful day, walking into the house and your kid that can't even talk yet lights up when he sees you because he knows daddy's here. He knows he's safe. Speaking
Absolutely.
of, I hear a young lady in the background that's chopping it up. What's she talking about back there?
Yeah, man. Hey, I tell you what, man, she's on her tablet, man. But every now and again, I glance over to see what she's looking at, man. Parenthood is fatherhood, particularly for this particular podcast, is a 24-hour, 8-day a week thing. So I got to see what she's watching. When you said something about thinkless. Before I touch on that, you said something about single people with no kids or just people with no kids. And I know I don't always phrase things properly, man. I get hulled a lot, but I'm here to tell you, and I mean this in no harm to anybody. If you don't have children, you can't tell me anything about children. That's just where I'm at, man. So a lot of people think they have I'm not gonna say expertise, but a lot of people want to give advice here and there. If you haven't experienced being a parent, I can't. For me, it goes in one ear out the other, man. When you said thing, it's something you said, man. After a hard day's work, you coming in and your child lights up, man. I tell you what, man. This past year at work, it hasn't been the easiest time, but I tell you what, man. Last week while I was at work, my 2-year-old sent me a voice message telling me that she loved me, and she was hype about it in the voice message. I said, man, how can you not want to come home to that, man? For the I'm not going to call them fathers, but for the people who made children that don't want to be involved in their children's life, how can you not come home to a person that's going to love you unconditionally? Right. Doesn't matter what you do, man. Look, man, my daughter always has her arms out for me, wanting me to pick her up. And I tell you what, I'm going to pick her up. It's getting to a point where you try to give her, I'm talking about my situation here. I try to give her more independence. You gonna need daddy, but some things you could do on your own, man. But like you said, man, this thing is thinkless. I'm the parent that I'm a helicopter parent. I'm overprotective, but you also have to understand I got a little girl. I don't even think mothers would understand when a dad is overprotective of his daughter. So it's man, when you're dealing with a girl, man, it's a little different. Oh, I'm hearing my baby. I gotta see what's happening, but she's just excited about whatever she's watching, man. I gotta make sure she's safe. But yeah, man, like you said, it's thinkless, man. It's a beautiful thing though, man. Are you getting any sleep though?
Man, I'm getting a decent amount. It ain't what it used to be. I used to get 8 hours a night. That was my thing. Like I need my 8. And yeah, man. Right over. Now 6 hours is great.
Hey man, God bless you. Hey man, is your son sleeping in his own room?
He is not.
Hey, I tell you what, man, this girl over here, man, she started out sleeping in her own room. Hey man, now she ends up, I tell you what, and we bought her a full-size bed because at first it was like, okay, maybe it's her mattress in her crib, whatever. That's what other parents were telling me. Oh, it's that crib mattress. It's not comfortable. Man, that it ain't the mattress, man. She wants to be around
Her parents.
the people who love her, you
Yeah.
know. But I tell you what, man, she sleeps wild, and I can't sleep with her. So if she jump into bed in our bed, I head to her bed, man. I ain't sleeping with my daughter, man. You catch elbows in the back of the head and all that, and I don't have time for all that anymore,
Yeah.
man. Let me ask you a question, man, because you mentioned, the coronavirus and all that in this situation. How do you feel about daycare? Just
I
in
would like
general.
I would like to avoid it at all costs, but when you have two parents that have careers and um sometimes it becomes a necessary evil because I think about you know he hasn't been sick other than this one little time he's been sick with a viral something with where he's sneezing and coughing and all that changes, man, when as soon as they hit daycare, man, because they're around all these other little kids and now it's like with the whole COVID thing, like, man, is it COVID? And it's just like because people, man, they love dumping their kids somewhere else. They love, I mean, you're a teacher, that parents love to have that time where they can go in and I get it, as a parent, you need a break sometimes as well, um, but not when the kid is under the weather and can make other kids sick. It's like you got to figure something else out but they won't. It's and hey, and the caretakers may come to work sick,
Mm.
and because they don't want to miss work because they ain't trying to lose their job, and it's tough. I can, as my kid had a he has allergies and some other stuff going on that causes him to need extra attention, and I don't think that a daycare would be conducive to him having the quality of life he deserves to have. And so at this point we just got to figure it out, because those daycares are 5-6 kids to one caretaker, and that's not cool. Like I can only imagine, like I think about all the energy that is poured into just caring for him and making sure he's good. He ain't the only one that has medicine he has to take at a certain time, and like he ain't the only one that's in a situation like that. So I can only imagine, like, multiplying that times X amount of kids, and it's tiring. It's got to be frustrating, and man, it's hard to trust people, man. If people are something else, man. Yeah, I know you have a daughter, and it's probably a special, you know, it's special circumstance when you have a daughter, because, man, girls are so preyed upon, and
Mm-hmm.
it's crazy. But the good thing about that is most of the time at daycares is not many men, but some of these women are trash out here,
Mm-hmm.
and um, you just never know what people are going through mentally and how they might react to your child if your child's not cooperating, or because let's be honest, man, like, as a parent, your kid can frustrate you, and you can
Mm-hmm.
be like, man, like, dude, just cry it out, and that's your seed, right? So imagine how another person feels.
Yeah, yeah. You know what, man? You saying all that, man. I as far as daycare, I was pretty, like, because you said something. I've said this on other podcasts before, or other episodes before. One day I walked into the daycare that my daughter was in, and a man was there, and I'm like, oh no. I immediately had to have a conversation with him, like, hey, so check it out. No disrespect to you, I don't want you changing my daughter. you know and he was a little offended, but my job isn't to protect his feelings. My job is to protect my daughter. And I immediately had to get her up out that daycare, because it's like, man, I got my baby girl and a man working here. We can't do that. But anyway, fast forward, my child is, developing and all that, and now she's talking and everything. And now I'm like, hey man, I got to get her into preschool. right now. She's about to be 3. I'm like, man, gotta get her into preschool. And now, we're looking at different preschools and whatever. We're looking at what's the curriculum, and her mama, what's the curriculum? What are they going to be learning? And she's on the phone talking to people, and I'm like, hey, ask them, do any men work there? Do y'all hire men? I'm more along the protective side, whereas the mama's academics and this and that and that. And I'm like, yo, do men work there? Like, what's y'all situation with that? Do y'all hire men? What we doing here? But yeah, man, it gets to an age where, like even with my daughter, man, she's kind of scary. I mean, you take her, we go out, if I try to put her down, she wants to climb up on me. And I'm like, nah, she got to be around other kids. She has to learn how to be around other kids. Cause I'm not gonna lie, when I had her, she started out in daycare. When she was 6 weeks old, she was in daycare. And she was playing with other kids and all that. But now she just don't want to be around other kids. And it's like, nah, we gotta change that up. And then, kids learn from other kids, man. My child started walking because she saw my baby has that Mamba mentality, man. She saw other kids walking and she was crawling. 3 days later, she was walking. She was like, this ain't happening again. But that's because she was around other kids, man. So, I think the daycare, just my experience with raising a child, which hasn't been that long. I'm only 3 years, close to 3 years in the game, but I think when they can't talk and tell you what's going on, you kind of want to keep them around, yourself and family members that you can trust. But when they get a little older to where they start, you want to get them that interaction with other children. Mm-hmm. And man, the good thing about having another child is my new child will be able to learn from my oldest. So, they're not going to be more than 3 years apart, so they could look out for each other and do all that type of thing, man, which brings me to another question, man. Do you plan on having more children?
Man, I think to your point, man, kids learn from kids, man. And, my son can be a protector, another set of eyes, so and he deserves to grow up with somebody else, man, not just an empty house, man. I grew up, I have siblings, but I grew up as an only child. And, in the back of my mind, like, yeah, I wish that I'd had a brother or a sister in the home to grow up with and to have that bond with, because my brother and sister, they have a great bond because they grew up together. So, they have that inseparable bond, and I can just imagine like them going up together and having the whole protection thing, them kind of looking after each other, going to the same schools and whatnot, only being a few years apart. So yeah, man, yeah, it's probably gonna happen.
Yeah, man, I'm with you, man. I was like, nah, we getting a little older and da da da, and then I just see my child, and I'm like, man, I had a brother, or excuse me, I have a brother. I'm sorry, I have a brother. I grew up with a brother. Man, I'm gonna get this girl, somebody to play with, but it's two and through, and I'm going to take the necessary precautions to make sure that this doesn't happen again. Once this baby's here and safe and all, healthy and all that, hey, man, I'm gonna take care of that. Yeah, exactly, baby. Daddy gonna take care of that. I'm gonna take care of that, man. It's a wrap, man. Yeah, man.
What's up. Man, I heard you say advice from like people that don't have kids is just in one ear and out the other. What about advice from people with kids?
Absolutely, man. Listen, so check it out. It's that my answer is layered. Okay, my barber has raised 3 girls. His oldest is 27. His youngest is 18. In raising these girls, he was married, divorced, single parent. child support all the way through, and successfully made it through. I mean, at one point, his child support was like $1,300 a month. Okay, but he banged his way through. When my barber speaks on raising children, I shut up, listen, and take notes. Because if there's anybody credible enough to tell me about raising some kids, it's him. Now, there's another layer to that answer. I listen to people with children give me advice, but I also watch how they interact with their children. I watch how they maneuver, because my way of parenting is very intentional. When I'm riding with my child, I don't listen to certain things with my child. I don't watch certain things with my child, because I'm trying to raise her to be a certain way. And not only that, she's not old enough for me to explain to her what's going on if we're watching something that's a little off. So, I mean, to answer your question, yeah, I listen to. If you got kids, I'm listening, but I'm also watching you, and I'm taking little pieces here and there. So you can't take everything from everybody. Mm-hmm. You can't take everything from everybody, man. Check this out, man. Let me explain. I recently had a back and forth with people about rainbows. My daughter loves rainbows. She loves rainbows. And I mean, pretty much the way that we're raising her is, we love everybody. We don't have to disrespect everybody, but some campaigns and movements we kind of fall back from. That's not our fight. We don't have to hate anybody, but that's not our fight. And I was trying to explain that to people, and people were calling me homophobic, calling me all kind of names. And then I looked up, I looked up homophobic, and it said, if you have hatred towards a group, and I'm like, I don't have hatred towards this particular group. So some people are speaking out of turn and misspeaking. I say all that to say, like with the rainbow, you have to be mindful. And I'm trying to be mindful with raising my child, because although, rainbows are supposed to be mean God's promise that he'll never flood the earth and everything. If my baby gets caught up in rainbows, as a young age, and then she gets a little older and see what the rainbow is connected to, but she's already has this love for rainbows, maybe she would be influenced to take part in whatever the rainbow, whatever meaning that the rainbow has, that's not associated with God's promise. You see what I'm saying? So I say all that to say, I'm very intentional on the way that I'm raising my daughter. It's not always going to be liked by everybody else. Sometimes I'm going to misspeak. Sometimes I'm going to be overprotective and do things that don't make sense. But I'm doing that because it's a certain path that I want my daughter to take. Now, granted, one day my daughter's going to get old enough to make her own decisions, and she may not want to go the route that I laid out for her. Hey, that's on her. But at least I did what I thought was right, man. If that answered the question. I know boys went on a slight rant, but do you listen to what everybody's parenting skill?
It's kind of like you said, man. I always have a listening ear, and I'm and it's not just with parenting. I'm okay with listening to information, because if there's something I can pull out of it that makes sense, that can better me, why not? But at the same time, like, every kid is so unique, right? So what worked for you may not work for my child. I
That's
have very good
major.
friends that again have kids, but again, my kid has allergies. And so I remember, so this is a and again, this man was trying to give me good sound advice for parenting.
Absolutely.
Um, we were talking and he's like, man, how is he sleeping through the night? And I said, no, he's not sleeping through the night. Oh, you need to put oatmeal in his milk or cereal in his milk. Yeah, he's allergic to wheat.
Okay.
you know, and so um again, like it was from a good place, it was good advice, but it wasn't for my situation.
Mm.
And that's where you have to really, again, be thoughtful, be intentional with how you do things and with the advice you listen to, because even though I had explained that to my friend, like it still didn't all he still went back and thought about what he did with his child who had a different circumstance. Again, it's not a wrong answer, it just wasn't the right answer for my situation. So it may have been good advice for somebody else. The other piece is, not to sound a certain way, but like I keep myself informed. Like I try to be one step ahead of everything. So I'm already pretty informed when it comes to things. So I don't think I'm a know-it-all by any stretch of the imagination. I never put myself out to be a know-it-all. If even if somebody's telling me something I already know, I let them speak because I never want to come across as a know-it-all. But I do keep myself informed, and because I don't like to be in the dark. I want to do the best thing possible. Like information is available at our fingertips on our phone. So like there's nothing we shouldn't know or nothing we shouldn't look into and question. So, but again, to answer your question, like it, it, I take everything with a grain of salt, and I have a good circle of friends that I know are good parents and everything. And when I have questions, I don't hesitate to ask. Even when I ask questions, when I get the suggestion, if it don't quite line up with how I want to move, thank you for the advice. But like we talk, man, I'm collecting data, and I'm
Yeah.
gonna make the best decision for my situation, for my child's situation. And it's not always, gonna be what somebody else did. And like you said, like you see how other people move with their kids, and it's just like, yeah, I wouldn't do that. I
Yeah.
remember, seeing, like in certain things, like you said, like I love, like, we love hip hop, we love rap music, man. But, I don't want my son listening to anything
Yeah.
crazy to influence how, he thinks. Or last thing I want is his first word to be the N word or the B word or something like that, because of what we're listening to and watching. And his mom is really good about what he watches too. Like, like there was something we were watching, and and it was something it was The Mask with Jim Carrey, but there was a couple of scenes that got a little dark, and it's like, ugh, yeah, he probably don't need to see this imagery. So it again, to some people it may not, oh, he don't know what that is, no, he don't. Yeah, but then when he wakes up in the middle of the night having a nightmare, are you going to be there to calm him down because of the images he saw on television? And it's our minds are, our brains work from the minute we are conceived. So like we can process things, our mind can take pictures of things. And I know none of us remember being an infant or a toddler or whatever, but like I would imagine, because one day he woke up in the middle of the night, and it had to be from a nightmare because there was nothing else. And let me share this, because it was we talk about it being a thankless job, we talk about it being tough, we talk about it also being rewarding. um but man, it's like this was such validation for me. So he woke up and he was crying. His mom has him. And, you know, to be honest, man, like, moms are, we salute the moms, man. Y'all are the cornerstone of the home. Y'all are nurturing. Y'all hold it down. Like it is, y'all get y'all's flowers, man. Y'all get y'all's flowers. We don't always get our
Absolutely.
flowers, man.
Yeah.
And so anyway, she's trying to comfort him, and he's just crying, man. He's just crying, going crazy, crying. And I'm like, man. And so, I'm just like, man, let me see what I can do. I grabbed him, and he stopped crying.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's validation. It's like, whatever happened with him that was traumatic. And again, I think it was a nightmare. And I think he just needed daddy, because daddy is protection. I'm saying, like, whatever I saw in my dream, gonna have to get through daddy now.
Yeah. And I'm fighting hard. Yeah.
So whatever he saw in his dream, he's like, you know what? They're gonna have to get through my daddy now.
Yeah.
So, mama, I love you. You cool. Appreciate the milk. But I need my bodyguard right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so again, that was a validating moment. Of course, I hate that my kid woke up in the middle of the night. But it almost brought tears to my eyes, like him, being comforted by specifically me, in that moment. Because again, I'm not the mom. I'm not nurturing like that. I'm, it's that women have like this special. I believe that women have like a special anointing on their life for children. Well, most women. Some women trash too. Don't get it twisted. But I believe for a good woman, they have a special anointing, a special patience that we just don't necessarily have. We can we learn to cope, but they just naturally have it. And that's why they are more nurturing and whatnot. But that night was very validating for me.
Yeah. One man, I was listening to the Joe Budden podcast one day, and he said something along the lines.
The same guy that fired Rory and Mal.
Yeah, that guy. And the podcast has become
that
a
brother
mature
is toxic.
Podcast.
That brother is toxic.
The podcast is a mature podcast. Now
that brother is toxic.
But you know what, man? He said something that you would agree with. He said, one of the phrases that's important for like fathers when their children is going through something, whether their children's hurt or they're crying, when the dad comes in and says, hey, daddy's here. It may sound like it's just, whatever, but you don't know what that means to the child though.
Mm-hmm.
That's a comforting phrase in itself for your child to be going through something. And you just coming in and say, hey, daddy's here. You don't even know what's going on. You don't know how severe the situation is. But you being there and your presence being known to your child can ease a situation, man.
Mm-hmm.
Think about that, man.
Mm-hmm.
We're dads, man.
Mm-hmm.
Let me ask you this, man. Do you feel like you're a superhero?
Hey, man. I'm an X-Man right now.
Okay.
Man, I mean, I think you have to be.
Mm-hmm.
I think if you truly want to be everything that your child deserves, you have to be a superhero.
Absolutely.
And if I'm not a superhero to anybody else, I know I'm a superhero to my child. Think about that moment I just shared with you. He more than likely had a nightmare where maybe it was a villain trying to get to him. Hey, man, MJ couldn't do nothing. Mary Jane couldn't do nothing. He needed Spider-Man to come hop into that situation and kind of, you know what I'm saying? He needed, needed to be rescued from that situation. And MJ just couldn't hold it down.
Yeah. You know what's funny, man? It's funny how children change things, man. Before having a child, I used to want to save the world, man. I used to, I can, my attention was elsewhere, man. I have my child now, and it's like, I just want to make sure my child and my family's good. I care about everybody else. I'll help any way I can, but the priorities here, man, I'm their superhero. My daughter's expectation She may not be able to express it verbally right now, but her expectation of daddy is to fix whatever situation. Whatever situation, her expectation is for me to fix it.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? I'm gonna fix it.
Right.
Yeah.
It's funny you say that about, like, you try to save the world, and now it's just like, I need to take care of home, man. Again, it's that mindset shift, man. It's like, yeah, I care about everything I cared about before I had a child. I still care about, right? Like, I'm still passionate about my community. I'm still passionate about, all the things, right? But man, if he not right, the world stops,
Yeah, absolutely.
and it's like, hey, y'all can figure out y'all situation. Some other cats that don't have kids it's y'all's time to step up and help and advocate and whatnot, because right now I have the future to protect.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, man. That's beautiful, man. Man, that's beautiful. Where let me ask you this. I'm gonna go back earlier. 2 years ago, when you didn't have a child, and it was like, you didn't I don't know if you were planning for a child, but you didn't have a child. Like, what were you doing? Like, I know you were mature, you're already grown, you're working, doing all that kind of thing, but like, what were you doing though?
I was sleeping.
Okay.
No, it was get up and go. It was get up and go mentality. Whatever I wanted to do, I did it. If I get off work at 3 o'clock, if I want to go catch a matinee movie right after work, then I can go do it. If I want to, man, I can't remember the amount of times that I've texted you and been like, hey man, I see $10 Rockets tickets. You want to roll?
Yeah.
Hey, I got $10. You got $10. It starts at 7:30. I'll see you there.
Yeah.
It don't work like that anymore. I need, okay, like we go into the wrestling joint or whatever. We got those tickets well in advance, so we can make arrangements.
I gotta make arrangements. Yeah.
We put things in place. We let the mothers know, hey, we're doing this. We're gonna be, out of pocket until probably 10:30, 11 o'clock, until everything, gets situated and we get to the house. But that's fine. But I couldn't have hit you Thursday, hey man, I got these tickets. And we, it just don't work like that, man. It changed. But back in the day, we used to do that. We used to could pick up and go. And now, while as men, yeah, we probably can be irresponsible and pick up and go, but that's not the legacy I'm trying to leave. Like, that I just do what I want to do my entire life, because that's where you have your single time for your all that time before that is designated for that, because at the end of the day, like, I don't come first anymore.
Yeah.
I have to realize that, like, as humans, like, we're selfish. We think, man, like, everything revolves, man. If you are truly in it to win it with your kid, you do not come first. As a man, you actually come third. You come third, because if you're a good man, you want to make sure your kid is good, and you want to make sure your kid's mother is good, because she spends more time with that kid than anyone else on this earth. Then it's you. So back in the gap, it used to be you and everybody else.
Yeah.
No. That kid comes first. No matter what people tell you, oh, you gotta, you put your spouse first, people can say all that all you want. At the end of the day, if your child is not good, your relationship ain't gonna be good. Your marriage ain't gonna be good. Your job ain't, like, nothing is gonna flow right when your kid is not right. Nothing. I don't care what else is going on in your life is good. If that is not right and you truly care about your child, nothing else in your situation is going right.
Okay. I like where you're going with this, man. You brought up about how we were when we didn't have children, man. Me and you could just go head wherever, man. It could be at a moment's notice.
Mm-hmm.
Since having a child, have the environments that you man, I might be saying the word freak. Yeah, there we go. Have those changed? Let me tell you what I mean. 3 weeks ago, we went to this get together in the neighborhood, man. Hey baby, we went to this get together in the neighborhood. 2 of the guys at that get together, they used to have hair. They used to be waved up. Now they bald headed. And I saw them and I'm like, oh man, y'all bald headed. I'm on the way because I'm losing my hair like in the middle of my head or whatever, right? So the conversation with them was a mature conversation. We were talking about losing our hair and raising our children.
Right.
And I was like, man, this is the type of conversations I want to be in, outside of like business and evolving. I want to be, just talking about, lifting each other up and taking care of our like grown man stuff. Mm-hmm. So have the environments that you used to hang in changed since you've had your son?
Well, I'll say this. I think, I mean, my conversations were, I actually felt, because I was kind of like the last one to not have a kid in my tight circle, right? So I was already kind of in them conversations, not 100% understanding everything, but kind of soaking it in. But yeah, I mean, I remember having a conversation with really good friends, and man, we were talking, like you said, about what kind of diapers and why we got those kind of diapers and stuff. And it's like, whoo. And it's just like that exact same group of friends. I remember talking about, who was going to stop at Specs and get the Hennessy, and who's going to get the stogies from the stogie joint, and then what the plan for Friday night was going to be. And yeah, and now Friday night is all about tucking in a kid, and trying to get to bed at a decent hour. So yeah, I mean, it has to, because again, man, those people with no kids, man, they don't get it, because again, they can their Friday night looks way different. They trying to go to Papados and to go see Saw or whatever at the movies, because they can just drop it and go in at a moment's notice, and you don't get it until you in it, man. You really don't get it till you in it. And sometimes people think, oh, you can just bring your kid. Man, anytime you have to bring your kid somewhere, again, your kid comes before everything else.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're about to go spend money on something, at least for me, I like to make sure I'm gonna be able to enjoy it. If I'm going to a movie, movies cost $20 just to get in, I want to make sure I'm gonna be able to see that thing through.
Yeah, for real.
And so it's not that easy. And then you want to make sure that, your kid ain't disturbing somebody else from having a good time,
Yeah. Okay, this is good. Has the content you've taken in changed? And do you expect the people that you're listening to evolve and be able to relate to your situation?
That's one of the reasons, man, I really love Jay-Z, man. Like, it's because he has evolved. Like, we've seen so many different like evolutions of him. Like, we saw him from like Reasonable Doubt, when he's still 1 foot in the street, 1 foot out. Then we saw him kind of evolve into like the biggest rapper, to where he's rapping about his money, his cars, and his girls or whatever. Then we saw him kind of evolve into like the big homie, like, when he's starting to kind of, you know, he's segueing into something bigger. Then we see CEO Hove, right? And then we start seeing woke Hove and married Hove and I got kids Hove, and it's about my legacy. And you just see all that whole evolution, because that's really what we should be doing. Like, I think we all should have different. I think we're always like on a stair step where we're trying to get to the next step, in our life, and we should be evolving. And one thing is sickening seeing people that don't evolve and are still stuck in that same mindset from when they were 22 years old, but because we should be constantly evolving. So yeah, I mean, the content that I like, I think about things that I'm watching now. I appreciate a wholesome show now. Like,
Absolutely.
man, like there's a show called Family Reunion, man. It's very wholesome, man, but it's good, and it lines up with what I'm trying to see, and the something that I could watch with my kid if he's old enough, like, and not have to worry about them cursing or having sex on the camera and stuff like that, because man, it's so much of that, man, at our disposal, man. Like, it's tough to, it's like, man, like this is stuff I used to watch. Like, and I've never been big on like Power or Empire and stuff like that. Like, I was done with Empire when I saw two men tongue kissing and I'm
Yeah.
like, I can't, and that was on that Empire was on at 7 o'clock at night when kids are still up. Like, this is something with, again, two men kissing that should be on at 11 p.m. when kids are in bed. But no, it's on in prime time. Everybody just finished having dinner and everybody's gathered around the television. And the next thing you know, two men are kissing. And it's just like anybody could see that. So, it's and the world just keeps evolving, man, to where all this stuff is just more and more acceptable. I have zero issues with LGBT and any of that. Like, it's whatever you decide to do and however you move, whatever lifestyle you choose, that's up to you. But man, I don't know that I need my son seeing any of that,
True story.
on
True story.
television.
True story.
If you said that, you alluded to it earlier, like if your daughter chooses to um engage in a lifestyle that is not one that you laid out for her, that's on her. But you know that you did everything in your power as a
Absolutely.
father to protect her from it. But
Absolutely.
we all have free will. We can all go and do whatever we want when we're grown.
Yeah.
So it's the same kind of philosophy. It's like, yeah, it is what it is. I mean, I'm gonna do my part to make sure my son is not a part of the LGBT community. But I can't, he's probably going to go to college and he's going to like have different experiences. I'm gonna do my part to make him a man's man. But and again, I don't need to be taken in that kind of content, and I don't need to be hooked on a show that is okay with that, and that is putting that out. So, it is what it is, and I appreciate songs that even talk about the right things now, like that's why I like a guy like Toby Nwingli, man. That's like it's literally music to my ears, because he's talking about his daughter, he's talking about his woman, he's talking about, living, a noble life and whatnot. So yeah, man, I got a question, man. And I hope, because I'm gonna be transparent about my joint, but like, do you think, like, did you grow up in a home with a father?
Yes, but it was toxic and dysfunctional. Absolutely.
Did did that does that influence how you are with your child? Like, did like something there lack that you want to make sure doesn't happen? Like, are you like a I guess they call them like, generation, like breaking the generational curse or whatever? Like, is there something that you felt like you had to break?
Yes, because I don't want that for my daughter. I'm gonna be honest, man. My dad's a great man. My dad's a guy that took me. I'm not his biological son. He took me in, but his relationship with my mother was horrible. Some of the things that went on in front of me and my brother, we should not have seen. I do not desire that lifestyle for my daughter, and I am not going to present that for my daughter. I'm raising a young girl. If I show her mother some disrespect and craziness, my daughter, that's going to be acceptable. That, or it's a high chance that that could be acceptable for my daughter when she gets in relationships. I don't want that for my daughter. So yes, I had to do something different. Absolutely. What about you?
For me, man, shout out to my dad, but I mean, I grew up in a fatherless home. It is what it is. That's a irrefutable fact. And not only was it a fatherless home, but it was one of those things where, I've always felt like it was disappointing. Like, I mean, I'm gonna be quite honest with you. I had some of those Uncle Phil, Will Smith moments
Mm,
where it's just like, do this brother even want anything to do with me? Or,
mm,
and because for me, it's like, and I get like part of the reason he wasn't there because he was working crazy hours and whatnot. That's also something I don't want because even,
mm.
no matter to me, no matter what happens between you and the mother, that kid is still your kid. And, like I think about like if he had just been a little more present, like could I have, excelled a little more in basketball? Like, like could I have gotten that extra push like to really, practice like I needed to because it was only so much my mom knew about sports and sports training, you know. And she got me thing like she bought me like a basketball almanac, she bought me a basketball goal, she bought me like she put me in position, but there's some of those things you just don't know, as a mom, as a female. And those were things that I think, I may have gotten a bigger push. I'm not saying I'd be, a retired, pro ball player at this point, but man, I may have gotten a full ride scholarship, or I may have like, but you just think about that and it's just like, man, I can count on one finger like the amount of games he went to of mine, and so it's just like when you look at things like that, it's just like, now we talk about getting support for listeners and this and that. That was a support I needed. You know what I'm saying? I
Mm.
needed, I needed my family in the stands, like pushing me, critiquing me, like, hey, do this, not that. I saw, those are the things you need. So for me, man, I vow to be there for my son. Like I'm gonna support whatever. I'm not gonna push any sport on him. If he wants to play baseball, if he wants to play soccer, there's a check waiting for you for those sports as well. Um,
Absolutely.
if if he's talented and wants to sing and whatnot, man, I'm gonna be there. I'm gonna make sure I'm in position to be at as many games, functions, recitals, whatever as I can possibly be, because at the end of the day, I don't ever want my son to look up and be like, where's daddy? Why is
Yeah.
daddy not here?
Yeah, man. It's that's beautiful, man. That makes me think. And I'm glad you said that because this brings me to one. I love the way Master P, now he went from the ice cream man to, hey, man,
That
family
boy,
first. You got to leave your name. You got to leave something for your children. It's
yeah,
about the
man.
children.
That
It's about
man,
my children.
did you
Yeah.
see he just dropped some like fish fry, like that's in Kroger now? And like, man, he just,
Yeah.
you talk about true legacy moves
Yeah.
independently, man. Master P is the GOAT.
Absolutely, man. And I just love that's inspiring to see these type of brothers, hey, I'm Master P, but Look at my kids. It's about Rome. You see what Romeo's doing. You see what Hersey and Mercy is doing. You know, like the names of his children because he's pushing them out there. Hey, y'all, it's about them. This is my legacy. I love how Dame Dash, she had that legendary Breakfast Club interview when he says, I'm not hustling for my first name, I'm hustling for my
My
last
last
name.
name. Yep.
You know, I look at what LeBron James, his children. I love that, man. That's what I'm trying to do for my children. I was listening to a podcast today, man. I don't even know the name of the podcast. It's like a black millionaire mindset podcast or something like that. And the guy that was featured on there, the guest, he was talking about just doing different things for your children to see. Like he's in business, so he has a logo, and he has his logo around the house so his children can see his logo. His children can see something that his dad created every day. See, it's one thing to have Nike on your children's shirt, all the time. You didn't make that shirt, but if they're able to see that your logo is up, that inspires them to, oh, okay, hold on, my daddy owns something. He also talked about when he was younger, he would ride with his mother to go pick up rent money. He said that he thought he was riding with her to make sure she was safe and protected, but his mother had him riding with her so that he could have the visual of, yo, this is what business looks like. I own these different houses and I'm going to collect money from them. You need to see this. This is in your mind now so that when you get older, you have an idea of business, man. And that's one thing I'm passionate about when it comes to my daughter. That's why I have my daughter. My daughter's not sitting next to me because her mama's asleep or her mama's out. No, she's sitting next to me so she could see, oh, my dad is, walking out his dreams. My dad is creating. My dad is doing, she doesn't understand this now, but when she gets older, she'll remember these times. When I'm editing a video, I'll show her the camera and be like, hey, who is this? She'll say, Daddy, yeah, you're watching your dad edit and do things so that, and I'm saying all this to say, our children don't just have to be subordinate to everybody else, man. Mm-hmm. They can build something. Definitely. Or they can manage something that we left them.
Definitely.
We just have to be examples to them and show them the way, like Master P is to his children, like Dame Dash is to his children, like LeBron is to his children. We can do that too. Maybe we don't have the same resources right now or assets right now, but if I got a logo, I'm gonna put it around the house so my baby can see that. Oh, my daddy made that logo, or this represents what he got going on. Okay, all right. I was thinking about just, when my baby gets old enough to where she's out in school, making shirts for her to wear with my logo on it. Just to subconsciously let her know, like, I can walk around with something that my daddy made. I can manage something that my daddy made. And that's why it is important for us to be examples to our children. Everybody out, people tell their kids like, you could do better than me. You could do this. I only did this. I only was working for somebody, but you could own something. Show them how to own something, man. Mm-hmm. Won't you be an example to your daughter, to your child, man? Show them how to own some. Won't you get out here and put the work in so that they can see daddy put the work in and be inspired to put the work in, man. Yeah, man, boys went on I get passionate about that, man, because this is, I'm not play with this, man. I'm for real with this, man. I fell in front of my child so that she'll be fearless. She'll be able to look at daddy and say, hey, daddy fell, but he got up and kept on moving. So when he gets on my behind and tells me to do it, he's credible enough to tell me. He's credible enough to tell me that. So I'm going to get back up. That's important, man. That's important. Like I'm gonna put my eventually, yeah, but yeah, I'm talking about you, baby. Eventually, I'm gonna put my baby in self-defense classes or whatever. I'm gonna make sure I can handle myself too. I can handle myself now, but I'm gonna make sure I can handle myself to the level that I want to handle myself if I'm gonna be pressing my baby to handle herself. We gotta be examples, man. We can't be this do as I say type parents.
Not as I
Nah,
do.
fam, you do as I do. If you see me out here getting it, you get it too. Ain't no excuse. Yeah.
Man, that was good right there. Be a do, because it is so many parents that say that, man, do as I say, not as I do. Nah.
Nah.
Leadership by example, baby. Leadership by example.
Yeah. Your kids watching you anyway. Your kids have make horrible decisions sometimes because they watch you make horrible decisions. Your kids have dirty mouths because if you every other word come out of your mouth in front of your child is a curse word, what you think they're gonna talk like? Come on, man. Come on. It's not right. This is not rocket science, man. It's not rocket science, man. This stuff it's in your face. A lot of times we don't want to accept it. We just want it. We're clueless. Oh, why my child acting like this? Why my child? Man, it's you. It's been you the whole time. You can't blame nobody else. Yeah.
Yeah, and you know, like it's always more impressionable what you see versus what somebody tells you.
Absolutely.
Very simple.
Absolutely.
Hey man, you got anything before we get out of here?
Man, I think we gave the people something, man. I just want to say happy Father's Day to all the fathers, man. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers. Get your flowers. You are Superman. Your child is looking at you. Your son is looking at you. Your daughter's looking at you. Everybody's looking at you, man. You carry the weight of the world on your shoulders, man. I hope and pray your mental health is okay, because that is not an easy thing. That is not an easy job, man. You have to go work however many hours you got to work. Then you have to come home and be strong sometimes when you don't want to be strong. And you have to make sure that your family's good, man. That is a load, but you can handle it. But at the same time, put yourself in position to be able to handle it. Make sure your mind, make sure your mental is fine, man. But happy Father's Day to you, man.
Yeah, man. So I second that, man. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers that are taking care of business. If you ain't taking care of business, I'm sleeping you on the Happy Father's Day. You need to go figure it out, go to the lab, stop being selfish, and do what you need to do for your kids. But man, I think the fathers that are taking care of their business, man, get overlooked in society, man. So, man, I give the highest praises to you guys, man. You guys, you mean so much to your kids. Like Chris said it earlier, man, like when daddy enters the room, like the mood changes, man, because there's, while I talked about how mothers are nurturing and all that, dads just have a presence that's irreplaceable, man. Dads provide a level of comfort and a level of protection that is unmatched. So, I know you're probably tired. I know you're drained. I know you want to give up sometime, but man, you can't give up, man, because when you give up, man, you're giving up on your kid, man, and you can't give up on your kid, man. That kid needs you. That kid loves you. That kid looks up to you, or those kids. Man, y'all are dads, we're superheroes, man. Whether you know it or not, man, we're all superheroes, and man, we have to. What do superheroes do, man? They actually go out and they do what cops are supposed to do. We serve and protect, man. Serve and protect your kids, man. It's all about them, man. And just know that you're investing in who they're gonna be as future people in society, man. So do you want to groom future leaders, or do you want to groom or mismanage life and mess around and have bums and contribute to society in reverse? So fathers, y'all are very important, man. Don't let anybody tell you any different.
Absolutely.
Hey man, plug all your stuff, man, before we get out of here.
Hey man, y'all know what it is, man. Y'all check out my link tree. Go to my website, inspiredbychristopher.com, man. Join my email list, email list going crazy right now, man. Join that thing, man, so I can keep you updated with information, new podcasts as I go forward. And man, jump on my Patreon, support my Patreon. Everything you need is gonna be in that link tree, man. So I ain't even tripping, man.
Yeah, same here. Check out my link tree. It'll be in the description. Have a website, www.jarvissam.com. Get at me on IG, JarvisSam_ on IG. Man, we just gonna keep it pushing, man. Glad to be joined by you again, my brother, inspired by Christopher, man. This was good stuff, man. So happy Father's Day to you. And of course, congratulations on the awesome news, man.
Appreciate that, my brother. We here, man.
Yeah, man. And we are out.
Absolutely. I gotta go put my child to sleep.
Later.
Yeah, man.